Hi guys, welcome back to my series where I solve Python interview questions. As always, I'm using the Stratascratch.com platform. So without any further delay, let's just jump into the question. First, let's select our filters. So we want Python, we want the difficulty to be medium and hard. We want free questions because there's quite a lot of free questions. The free trial here is amazing, guys, by the way. And for the company, let's go with Airbnb. So we have one medium and two hard questions. We'll kick things off with the hard question just to make things more interesting. And yes, let's see what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with just a single data frame. Although it's rather big, I have a thought that probably we're going to use very few of these columns here. So let's read through the question. You're given a data set of searches for properties of Airbnb. For simplicity, let's say that each search result, i.e. each row, represents a unique host. Find the city with the most amenities across all their host properties. Output the name of the city. Okay, so we have, let's think what we need. We need the name of the city, since we're going to output the amount of amenities each city has. So we're going with, well, you know what? First of all, let's see how the actual data frame looks. Yeah, so the amenities is just a list of different amenities in one text string. So if we want to count those, we're probably going to use a split function. But overall, what we need is just two columns, right? Is we need city and we need amenities. There is no city amenities. Oh, sorry for that. Double brackets, since we have more than one column here. Yeah, so we have the city, and since each row represents a different host, just as the task said, so we know that each of these rows is a unique host. So what we are going to do is we're going to take this amenities column and create a new column and count how many different amenities there are. From what I can see, each unique amenity is separated by a comma. So we're going to use the comma as our split separator and simply count how many amenities each of these rows has. After that, we're going to sum them up, group them by the city, and see which city has the most amenities. We'll see if that works. So first things first, we have to create a new column. Let's call it n amenities, standing for number of amenities, which is equal to amenities. And now we're going to apply a lambda function. This lambda function, let me think about it. First, it has to take the whole text and split it, where the separator is the comma. This split function returns a list. So what we need is we need to make to count the length of this list. I think this should work. Okay, let's try to run this. Okay, so let's take NYC as an example. It says that the number of amenities here is 9. So we have TV, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, it does seem like it works. Now, the next thing we need to do also, yeah, never mind. Yeah, the next thing we need to do is to group by each city and sum up the total amount of amenities. We need the exact amount of amenities each city has, right? Find the city with the most amenities across all their host properties. Okay, so df equals df group by city. We're taking n of amenities and we're summing it up. Once again, as we've learned in our previous videos, we need to specify that this is not an index because it won't show our city column as a separate column if we don't do this. So we write down as index false. We have the total amount of amenities for each city. Also, what we can do is we can sort the values by cities, by the number of amenities. If I'm not mistaken, by default, this will be ascending. Yeah. So we need to make sure that it is descending, or in other words, ascending equals false. Good. Now, what do we need to output? Find the city with the most amenities across all their host properties. So we only need this value right here, since NYC has most number of amenities. Output the name of the city. So it doesn't even want us to show the number of amenities. So what we could do is we could simply write df.head, which displays the top row. Since we specify one, it displays only the first top row. And we only need the city. Let's run it. NYC, check solution, solved. Okay, just like that, with only 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code, we've solved a hard question here. And since we took only 6.5 minutes, I think we can also try tackling another question, which is this medium question. Okay, so let's try to speedrun this. Rank guests based on the number of messages they've exchanged with the hosts. Guests with the same number of messages as other guests should have the same rank. Okay. Do not skip rankings if the preceding rankings are identical. Okay, so let's see what we're dealing with here. Airbnb contacts head. We have a lot of values, a lot of text here, but a lot of this is noise. We are only interested in finding the guests. So we need ID guest. So let's start writing down what columns we're going to be using. We're going to be using ID guest. Then the number of messages they've exchanged with the host. So ID host, I'm not sure if I need host. ID listing, no. No, not interesting. Check-in time, absolutely not interesting for me. Number of guests, not interesting. Number of messages, okay. So since, if I understand correctly, the system of Airbnb logs any messages that a host exchange with the client. So end messages by default is a conversation between a host and a client. Two clients, two guests won't be communicating with each other in this platform. So number of messages should be the correct value to count how many messages each guest has sent, right? So we're writing down n messages. And I don't think I really need the ID of host. I only need to calculate the amount of messages each guest has sent to the hosts, right? It doesn't have to be the same host even. So first we gotta sort the values by n messages. And of course, we already know it's going to be ascending, so we're going to write ascending equals false. Great. I think. Is it really great? I think I sorted too soon because there might be duplicate values here, so we won't sort for now. We're going to group by and see if there's anything more than 20 values, so that way we'll know if we're correct. df equals df group by ID guest. We're going to use n messages, and as always, comma as index equals false, and we're going to sum this up to see the sum of each ID guest's number of messages. And now we can do the sort values. sort them by n messages, ascending equals false. Yeah, so now we have two rows of 20. So one of these definitely had more than one listings here. So good thing that we thought about this. Okay, so now what we're going to use is, since we need to output the rank of these guys, and there's another thing that we have to consider is that guests with the same number of messages as other guests should have the same rank. So meaning this and this is rank 1, and it also says do not skip rankings if the preceding rankings are identical, meaning this should be 1, 1, and this should be 2, not 3. So I guess we'll have to figure out how we're going to do that. But first, we create a new column named rank, which takes the df.n messages, and we apply the rank function. I know that there's such a function, but I'm not sure what the methods here are. So we'll have to Google that. Yeah, we'll have to dig into the documentation. One thing I definitely know is just like with the sort values function, it's also by default ascending true. Or is it? Yes, it is. So if I write down ascending equals false, then yeah, at least it begins at the very top here. But we also need to figure out how to convert this into 1 and follow the logic that this should be not a 3, but a 2. So we go to Google, we write down pandas rank, and this should open our documentation, right? The very first search is the documentation of pandas rank, and let's see what methods we have. Numeric number of, this is not interesting. I think what's interesting for us is this method here, and the different options we have are average rank of the group, not quite, minimum, no, first, also not quite, because that wouldn't follow the logic that the assignment said. Dense, like min, but rank always increases by 1 between groups. I think this is exactly what we're looking for, so we'll try this dense method. So what we're going to do now is write down comma method equals dense. Let's see if that works. Honestly, I was not expecting, but it worked exactly like we wanted it to. So the first two ones are rank number 1, then 217s are 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's try to check the solution. Solved. Perfect. That was actually something new to me as well. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and I see you guys in the next one.